When there's an injustice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them because they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. So honored to have all you guys tuning in day after day, week after week as we get to the bottom of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. And guys, I gotta be honest, today was tough. Today was tough. A lot of depositions, all on Amber's side. Here we had all of her BFFs. Let me correct, all her ex-BFFs. That's very telling. We're going to talk about that. And we watched a lot of video. And then finally, her sister Whitney came up, and I was ready, and then I was ready for the cross. And then it kind of just was like a little... So I got a lot of thoughts, and I'm going to break it all down with some amazing guests today. We got Christopher Melcher back. Always a pleasure to have you, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Great. Yeah, today was a little bit more of a slow day, but some important stuff came out that, especially with the sister.
Yes, that's our lead story. We're gonna go through all of them. Also, so happy about wait, all the names are wrong. I'm gonna fix it as you talk. Ann Silver, welcome back, Ann. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
You were watching today. How was this compared to yesterday?
Well, it was a bit of a slog fest. I was doing other things while I was watching it. It was pretty
Tougher.
Boring, but there were gems here and there to be caught.
There were some gems. We're going to try our best to go through all the gems. And it's Kim. Thank you for... Oh, and Linda also just joined. It's Kim and Linda are here. We're going to have Steph later. She didn't get to watch a lot of it, and so I wanted to make sure I brought in some people who watched for the first bit so we can break all that down for you. All right, so there's a lot to break down. I tried my best to get a lot of clips or maybe some more conversations of things, but let's break down. All right, so the big lead is the sister. I'm teasing that because we are going to get there. But first, the day started with Miss Raquel Pennington. And I'm going to reuse my tweet again because this was the face of her wondering, why am I defending this lying abuser again? Oh, right, because I've already perjured myself on multiple depositions in courts of law. So I guess I still got to keep this going even though we're no longer friends. That's the vibe I got. Before we play some clips, I'm just curious from the panel. Christopher, is my instinct there right? Do you think she is... still to this day, even though she won't really reveal why they are no longer friends? Did you get any sense of her sort of frustratingly trying to tell the same story again out of fear? Because she's probably in trouble if she were to change it now, no?
Well, yeah, I mean, she explained that they kind of grew apart. She had other interests. She, acknowledged that there was a physical altercation between the two of them. And she said that Rocky had pushed Amber first is the way I understood it, and then that Amber hit back. So I got to imagine that has a lot to do with why they're not talking together. The testimony was a little odd. I always hate this recorded stuff that we got to listen to. Mm-hmm. But there were times when she would just break down and become very tearful and emotional, describing, again, events that happened a long time ago, not even to her, just talking about what allegedly happened to Amber. So I thought, look, everybody reacts differently, but, it's the composure kind of was mostly very well, contained. And then at times these big emotional reactions, which was strange. But, this is a damaging witness to Johnny. And if believed enough, to really destroy his case, because we have somebody saying that she witnessed things and was there involved in the house. And so yeah, again, we can choose to believe or not believe, but if the jury believes her, that could be good enough.
Trouble.
Right.
I mean, but it's a key witness that we got to, again, give all the context. And Ann, I'm glad you shared this image because, again, this is the same Raquel Pennington who the day after was crying over these images that were, that she was taking illegally in the courthouse. She was laughing it up the next day after their attorney meeting. This is the attitude that they had. I mean, this also isn't a good look, right, Ann?
Right, and I don't know if I would describe Rocky as tearful. I didn't actually see any tears. I saw the crying motions.
I wonder where she would have gotten that from.
But it did make me wonder again, is it real? And so the first day she was not going through crying motions when she was basically the cross-examination. So Johnny's team is asking her questions.
Yeah, there was
Her crying motions came more today when Amber's team is questioning her.
Yeah, well, the media's already, they've just been eating this up. Her ex-friend cries as she feared the monster would do something worse than he intended. I was worried for her physical safety, that he turned and might do something that was worse than he ever intended, she sobbed. This was the moment that clearly was out there. But what's interesting as we watch some of these clips, we have a little bit, there was a lot to try and digest, guys. What I just gathered on everybody who spoke today, it all felt like it was all the same. A lot of it, Josh Drew was a different, we'll talk about him, but it just all felt like it was all part of the same Amber narrative, that they're all just trying to keep the story straight. Did you get that vibe, Kim, as well, of just people trying to make sure that the story stays the same?
Yeah, definitely. I think Rocky was trying very hard to remember. That was one thing I noticed. And I know that it's a long time ago, but it's like, I feel like a lot of these things, if they happen to you, they probably would be like ingrained in your memory. If someone that you love went through what she's alleging they went through, how do you forget any of those details? And she really did seem to be having difficulty recalling anything. And I wonder how much of that was allegedly, if they have created this narrative, was she just trying desperately to remember it correctly?
Yeah, well, there was one thing she did. Oh no, wait, sorry. Let's play this one first.
You saw the aftermath?
The aftermath, fair.
So you don't know that Mr. Depp actually threw the bottle, right?
I don't know.
Ms. Heard could have thrown the bottle, true?
She could have.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You say she could have?
She could have.
She absolutely could have, and even her own friend finally at least acknowledged that, and I thought that was one of the most telling things she did say on there on the cross. The biggest thing she said is she never witnessed anything. She saw these bruises and injuries, and I think it's the most important thing to remember, because it's something I want to talk about with all of you, of where did these come from? Could she have done it them herself? It's really the big question that I think we need to now address, because again, still all these friends are being told what Amber's telling them, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems so weird with all the cameras rolling, all the friends and witnesses. Nobody has seemingly seen Johnny ever do it to her. So he's so, amongst all the drugs and everything he's on as a monster, he somehow controls it to only doing it when the camera's aren't on and people aren't there. Given like the description that they keep saying of the monster and how crazy and manic he is, I find that hard to believe. Anne, do you know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't someone, because you're a therapist, etc., shouldn't someone who has this like monster tendency that they keep describing, like, slip up at some point in front of somebody or on camera? Wouldn't you think?
Well, it's a tough one because a lot does happen behind closed doors. There'd be a lot of domestic violence cases where people don't witness it. But we have an unusual situation here in that we have all of Amber's friends living with them.
Yep.
And so there's a lot more behind closed doors time where these people are there. And similarly on Johnny's team, we've got a situation where Johnny's team saw some things because they are behind closed doors with people more often than the average person has people in their home.
Yeah, I want to play. So here's a little bit of just sort of what this felt like in watching her try to remember things.
You also observed injuries to Ms. Heard's face, correct?
Did she observe injuries? She's really got to remember and think about it.
Yes.
What
Yes.
did you see?
Her cheek was red and swelling.
Which could come from crying. A lot of just
Do you
red.
recall when you noticed her cheek?
No.
But you didn't see how this occurred, right?
I didn't see.
At some point, 2 police officers arrived. Is that correct?
At 2 points, 2 police officers arrived.
Before the first set of police officers showed up, had you cleaned up any of the damage in penthouse 3 or 5?
I do want to say that's the best Amber's looked yet. She seemed like she actually, like, I don't know, didn't try to look like the victim today and dressed up. She put a little bit more makeup. Am I crazy? Did you guys notice, Kim? Did you notice? It did seem like she attempted to look better today. Does that make sense?
I thought so. I thought she was, it's a softer look than earlier in the trial. I just didn't understand why, it was, their hair was braided and, she looked very hard and I didn't get that.
She looked like she has makeup on today a little bit, she looks really pretty today and like she should. Amber Heard, she's always been trying to downplay and play this character. Kim, did you notice that too? Sorry, I went on a tangent with my ADD, but
no, I was just gonna say that I'm gonna say the unpopular thing. I love her makeup today. I love the nude lips she has. I really like the long sleeve shirt with the blazer over top. I haven't seen that before, and that's really cool. I'm not gonna lie. So I mean,
it definitely felt like a power move. Linda, do you think it was a power move against Johnny?
Definitely. I mean, she's obviously well put together today, and she's more softer tones, and like you said, the makeup is. It's still obvious that she's wearing more makeup than she has the previous days, but it's still in a softer tone. So I think it's clearly on purpose, but yeah, she looks good. We can't deny that.
Yeah, and she was I've seen the comments say it. I'll say it. She was definitely flaunting. She's definitely flaunting those. I don't know. She just looked like she wanted to look hot for Johnny or something. Like be all powerful. There was a vibe going where I noticed it. I noticed it because she's been very plainly or victim-y and weird throughout a lot of her choices. Again, not to give her any credit, but yes, the first time I was like, all right, whoever styled you today did a good job.
And she's got that B again. She's wearing the B.
She's just and she's doing on the side.
On the side that you could see the ear.
She's owning
Gotta love it.
She is owning it. Well, there it is. I don't know if that makes her crazier or whatever, but anyway. All right, so we're watching this testimony from Rocky, who's just so slow. Not really. You'd think this person, Christopher, is such an important witness for her too. The fact that now they aren't close and now she's, it was a very slow start.
Yeah, we also got to look at the circumstances in which the person's testifying. I mean, it's again, I mean, not trying to defend anybody, but she's not a professional witness. Number one, number two, she doesn't want to be there. Number three, it's 6 years, or what are we talking about? Yeah, 6 years. Like, I mean, if you had to go into detail about something that happened in 2015, 16, and, there's just no way. So that would naturally take time to recall that. She knows it's being highly scrutinized. A relationship with Amber's no good anymore. So there's a lot going on there. So we're not seeing people in their natural state. But gee, it was really boring. And she did, and I think hopefully the jury will pick up on this in one of the clips that you may end up playing. But it was like you mentioned, she said it was an injury, but then later she admitted, well, it could have been from crying.
Yeah.
So she was, kind of shows a quick or a disposition to conclude that it was an injury when in fact, it was a little bit more ambiguous.
Yeah, I figured, unlike Io, who I feel like was just clearly had some vendetta against Johnny, there was clearly, and we've learned the story now of he tried to totally exploit her daughter. It's a really disgusting story that Johnny's put out there to sort of prove it. And I saw the text of it. Unlike him, I did feel like there was, I don't know, I did feel like she was conflicted in a way, but still having to lean into the lie. But then there it is. Look, guys, come on, look at Amber. You got to give her credit. She's got great teeth. To go back and pull a quote from a while ago. Here, I got to play this. Props to our editor, Mike Reardon. Oh my God, are you ready for this? This pretty much sums up better than I could ever imagine.
Do you recall where the dogs were when you were in the bedroom, April 22nd, 2016?
Is an argument between two vegans still called a beef?
At some point, Ms. Heard left.
I can't wait till he stops talking so I can go back and chew on Amber's hair.
And she went to Penthouse 3, correct?
Oh, dang. Was she talking to me this whole time?
Yes.
Wait.
Was anybody
am I supposed to act sad
for that show?
or bored? Why won't anybody buy my beads?
Yes.
Do you remember where
I hope they talk about me on the Popcorned Planet live stream today. My butt itches. I don't know why. I took a bath.
Doing when you received this message?
Oh shoot! What'd she say? Who keeps coughing?
Did you use the key to open the door?
Yes.
Please.
Are my farts essential oils?
Point Mr. Depp's security team came in. Is that correct?
Line?
You also observed injuries to Ms. Heard's face, correct?
It's so itchy. I'm just gonna keep scratching it.
And another set of 2 officers.
Oh my
came later
gosh,
that night.
she's
Is that
still
correct?
blabbering?
That's how it felt
Correct.
Between the first set of officers
What
leaving and the
even
second set of
is
officers
a
arriving, how much
perjury?
time had passed?
I can't believe Amber promised me a role in Aquaman 2 for this. Am I gonna be on TV? Who keeps coughing? What happens when we die?
I don't remember exactly.
There it is. Smug Thoughts with Rocky Pennington. Go give. I'm giving him a proper
Thank you,
plug this
Mike.
time. He's now. I told him you got to
what did
post
you
that on your
think?
channel. So there it is on Mike's Reviews. He's going to post it right now that we've debuted it here. But Mike Reardon over at Mike's Reviews. Bravo, sir. Happy to get 47,000 of you. Go give him a plug because that edit. I was like, I didn't know what to edit today about Rocky. I'm like, she's so smug and I don't know what to do. And he put that together. So bravo. I feel like that summed it up. Kim, that was a surprise for you. Did that sum it up for you? Rocky's sort of whole aura.
Yes. And the thing is, like, I don't even think any of that footage is slowed down. I don't think any of it's even manipulated other than the voices and the text being put on it. 'Cause she honestly would just be like, "Oh, are you talking to me?" type thing. I was like, what is even happening?
Also, props to his wife. He was like, "Hey, just watch her and give me smug VO." And so it was a team effort, he said. So to Mike and his wife, bravo, you two are adorable. My God, we gotta have Mike. I'm just gonna give Mike free reign next time. I'm like, take this witness and run with it. So bravo, sir, again. But yeah, that's how it felt like. So all right, we had to get a couple laughs in because it got pretty intense. But here's what we do on this show. I got to now go to the serious. Here's where she did the crying, and I'm curious what you guys think. As Anne sort of mentioned it before, is she same school as Amber? Where did she get this crying
And why
from?
did you do
Let's
that?
watch.
She asked for my help.
And over the course of your relationship, when Amber needed your help, you tried to be there for her, right?
Yes.
What do you mean by scary?
I was scared for Amber. I was sad for her, and I was also sad for Johnny. Because he is my friend, too. And I really wanted them to be able to get it together.
Why were you scared for Amber?
It could be very unpredictable. And she didn't have a lot of self-preservation.
What specifically, what type of harm were you worried about for Amber?
In the beginning, I wasn't worried. Towards the end, when the physical abuse was more evident, I was worried. I was worried for her physical safety. I was worried that when he turned, he might accidentally do something that was worse than he ever intended.
All right, so there's a few things to take away here. One, the wardrobe change. It's like out of Amber's week, 2 playbook. She's got the homely thing and the hair up, and it's like she got like style tips from Amber on the stand. secondly, she's doing the same story, right? She really, so that's, I mean, that either shows, okay, they're all telling the truth, or they're all playing by the same playbook, which I know a lot of you guys think. I'm curious, Christopher, what do you think? Was this believable to you? And I put a poll out, guys. How real did you buy those tears? Was this more believable than Amber, at least? Christopher, what were your thoughts?
Well, like I say, I mean, you know, we're all kind of students of behavior, and I didn't understand why, of all the things that she described, that would trigger this emotional response, because she wasn't saying that she was worried that Johnny would hurt her, that it was her ex-friend, even though she hadn't witnessed him, you know, doing anything like that previously. So it would just seem like it was a weird question to trigger that response. So that's a little suspect in my mind. But that's what came across to me.
And you're saying it's dry as Amber's face.
I don't know. It's a little hard for me to tell, but I don't see any tears, but they might be there.
It's low res, but I'm with you. From what I can see, even on my bigger screen, it feels dry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. And this self-preservation thing, the audacity of saying that Amber doesn't have self-preservation. That's what Amber is totally about, is her self-preservation.
And this also, what about this? And you see, it really did feel like that was the most emotional Amber actually got. If I was ever going to buy it, and it almost felt like, you know, the loss of a friend. And I wonder if that is a real, could that emotion have actually triggered her watching this friend on the video? And could any of this be real, you think?
Well, there's a saying that narcissists can cry for themselves. Can't cry for somebody else. So
she's maybe crying over the loss of oh, I don't have this person to use anymore.
Maybe. I don't know. It could just be more of the fake.
Kim, were you buying any of this? Do you see anything real here?
I wonder if it's more complicated than we think it is. In the idea, and I mean, this is all allegedly speculation, opinion, my conspiracy, my whatever. I love you, Steph. I honestly wonder if Amber is the type of person that we think she is based on everything that we've seen. She is going to be very manipulative to everyone in her life, from her parents to her sister to her husband to her friends. And I could definitely see, you know, Rocky being in a situation where she wants to support her friend. She wants to believe her friend. So if her friend tells her something happens, that she's going to go, then yes, it did happen because my best friend told me it happened. Mm-hmm. And then she is nervous about her friend. She is scared for her friend. That is all genuine emotion that she feels. And then you see Amber having emotion because it's like, wow, she really did care about me. And I don't know what happened for the two of them to no longer be speaking. But I don't know how many people Amber has in her life that would have supported her the way that Rocky did. So I wonder how many of those tears are grief, and that Rocky truly believes everything that she's saying, even if it's incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the unpopular opinion, but there is a part of me that wonders if some of these people are just believing what they're being told by a friend and are believing the narrative because they're being fed it and they haven't seen it, but they're going to, well, you're telling me this thing and oh my God, look, you have this bruise. So why would you do that to yourself or make that up? And
why would you ever lie about any of it?
Yeah. And so, you know, it's an interesting debate. Linda, do you share that feeling? You're like, no, I don't buy any of it.
No, I totally agree with Kim. I do think there's probably a lot more to it. It's more complicated. She had stated, she's like, we're not really on speaking terms, but we're not enemies. So I feel like she, even if say things went bad, there's a possibility that just she really did have a true friendship with her or felt a real connection where she could be possibly sad to the point of, you know, a friendship ending, you know, not necessarily, you know, everything that they've gone through, just the fact that, you know, it was like, God, this is somebody that's like a stranger now, and we used to have such a good friendship. But what threw me off completely was you see the first testimony with her, she's completely like wall up, and she's a little sarcastic. There's some undertones there in her answers. Yep. And then you see today where she's got her hair up in a scrunchie, and she's also in completely a different way portraying herself. Like her clothes were lighter. Everything was lighter. And like you guys are saying, how the story was kind of going with sequences that we've heard from Amber. So it's just a little weird that like day one she was like this, and then day two we have her completely with these tense eyebrows and just, I don't know. It's very, very odd, but that's why I think Kim's onto something that it's more complicated than we think.
Absolutely, well said. I couldn't agree more, and I was wondering it, but I know some people are like, "No, you're not allowed to have any." I don't know. I wonder. I don't know, and so we're looking at all this. It's up for the jury to believe.
Well, and it could be a combination. So it could be partly that, like somebody like Rocky got told stories by Amber over and over again, so then they're set up to believe that Johnny's this awful being. Although going against that is they've known Amber for years, so they know she's volatile.
Right.
They know she's physically violent.
They're no longer friends with her, probably for reasons like that too.
Well, but even beyond that, going way back, she's got a history of being violent with her sister, being violent with her ex, etc. And they've got to have witnessed her volatility. And so then for them to come through with this totally one-sided story, Johnny's evil and Amber's an angel, that doesn't really fit with them just being pulled in by her story. And then I think in the end, that May 21st thing, Rocky seems too much a part of the illusion of the DV. And a couple of things came out in her testimony. One was Johnny has said that when he went there May 21st, and there was a discussion with Amber, and then all of a sudden Rocky is there at the couch, and he believed Rocky was hiding in the penthouse.
Couch.
Sorry, anytime someone says couch, I got to play the button, man.
Oh.
But yes.
And so today she reveals that she had a key to penthouse 3 through 5. So she could have easily been in there. And 3 through 5 is all connected, so she could have easily been in there. Right. And then another thing, I've been hearing this story for years about how Johnny did all this destruction that night, including going in and destroying where these beads were that Rocky had worked so hard on because she's going to have a show, and all this destruction happened. And they show the photo of the destruction. They showed it today again. They showed it, I think, yesterday or the day before. And it's just one bead thing tipped over onto the couch. It's not destruction. And it looks staged, and even at staging it, they weren't willing to destroy very much to stage it for the picture.
Well,
so the bananas all over the floor. The bananas on the floor got me yesterday. It was like, oh, the horror! The bananas! No!
Manners, oh no. All right, well, look, I know Ann and Christopher are on a time crunch. And also, oh my gosh, we just got Amy in as well. Perfect timing because I want to, as Amy gets in the building and finally makes her phone correct every time, she'll figure it out. But it's time to pivot over to the main story because I know Christopher and Ann, I'm gonna have to let them go a little earlier, but we got a lot more to go through. I'm gonna go back and play some more Rocky clips and more. Guess what? You get to watch the full stream if you missed it. You guys are watching live, you're gonna see it all. But if you're watching on the replay, you're like, wait, I want to see more. Hit the join button, become a member if you want to watch it tonight or tomorrow. Watch the full 3-hour replay at your leisure. So thank you guys for watching that, and stay tuned for that part. All right, but Amy Goodwin is here. Goodhart is sorry. I don't know why I keep mistaking your last name with my friends. Amy Goodhart is here. And you guys know her better than I do, I guess. She's in the ECB and has been so wonderful here giving us her commentary. And perfect timing, Amy. You ready? Because we're about to tackle Miss Whitney Henriquez.
Iglesias.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. That was somebody else. That was the makeup artist. All right, Whitney is here, and what a way to start for Whitney. I want to play one clip because I feel like it really does sum up all of Whitney's testimony better than anyone could tell you. So here you go.
Andy,
yes, Kim.
We just got 500.
Oh my gosh! Holy jeez, Dean 088. My God, sorry. Yeah, when someone drops $500, they do pause the show for a minute because, my goodness. Mike, I saw you, but I was trying not to pivot, but oh my gosh, Dean, Jesus. Dean just said the whole "we're not friends" is to counter the police. They come across as having no vested interest in the case, so to look impartial. AH is manipulative, controlling, and will lie to win. I hope the jury doesn't get sucked in and can't wait until she has to come back to Oz to answer a few questions. Damn straight, Dean. My goodness. Throw some planets in the air for Dean because that was an insanely generous tip. Thank you so much. It's Australia. That's that's not like UK. That's still $350
It's still
American.
a lot, yeah.
So my goodness, but still, I will take it, and that's a huge donation. So thank you, Dean, for that. And yes, she's coming to Australia to get her karma. So stay tuned. Throw some planets in the air for Dean. Just sponsored us like crazy. Keep the support coming. Mike, I see you too. I'm gonna get to you, but I got so much to get to. Here's the clip I want to play of Whitney setting the tone for Whitney in general.
Continue.
I instructed her to stay in my apartment while I go and talk to Johnny. So I leave PH4, I leave her in PH4.
And let me just stop. Are you sober, drunk? Have you been drinking?
Oh, rare occasions where I was sober.
Yeah.
Busted.
Can I play the Curb enthusiasm? What did she just say, Christopher? How idiotic was that statement?
I know, and they tried to clean it up because I know when I heard
Elaine
that
caught
too,
it.
I was like,
Elaine
oh, that's
caught it.
pretty truthful, you know. And then they said, oh, she was sleeping, you know. But yeah, she clearly said that.
I mean she messed up bigger than this, but I don't know. This is a pretty big mess up. The whole credibility just went out the window. And I guess you could argue she's misspoke, but I don't think she did.
Oh, rare occasions where I was sober.
Rare occasions when I was sober. So her whole testimony goes out the window, does it not, Christopher?
Well, look, I mean, everybody's on drugs in this story. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, and like multiple different types of drugs at the same time.
Amy, you were at those parties, right? Come on, you must have been at the pool. Did you know it was this much drugs?
No, I don't know anything about like that life, that kind of, people doing things like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have a drink because I've rarely ever been sober. So cheers to that.
Well, notice, and the only one who's seen as bad for it is Johnny.
Yep.
Well said, Ann. Thank you. Everybody's always pointing at Johnny, right? It's like, and you notice it too, Ann. I mean, because you've written the book on narcissism, abuse on men. Have you seen it, just how much everyone's helping Amber continue to never take accountability? Isn't it strange that even, I mean, I guess Whitney, they did chip at her a little bit, didn't they, at the end, to acknowledge that she did have to leave the situation from time to time because Amber was controlling her, right? You remember that part?
I don't remember that part.
Oh, you didn't watch? There was a part where on the cross where I'm gonna try and get to it. During the cross where they're like, well, you had to get some time away from your sister too, right? Weren't there times when you needed space because she was not be nice to be around? There were moments during that cross, which was a very uneventful cross, if I'm being honest, where they at least acknowledged that Whitney has admitted that her sister is very hard to deal with, which I thought they could have figured out some better examples of, but they didn't. But to go to your point, you were saying, yeah, they're all just blaming Johnny, and when on the stand, they're not taking any accountability themselves. Why do you think that is?
Well, one thing, because I don't have much more time, I want to say that my guess is, and Christopher would know better than me, but I think that they saved time on crossing Whitney because they're going to really destroy her in rebuttal.
Yeah, so since we have about 4 more minutes with you, I'm getting your site up, which I thought I had here.
Oh, good.
But yeah, Christopher, we're gonna get to your thoughts too. But Ann, anything else you want to add about that?
Silvers with an S on the end.
Oh, sorry, it's Silvers. I always do it wrong. Ann Silvers. There we go. What? Cue that up for me, Ann. Why is that a problem?
Yeah, so at the end, what was it? So one of the things. So in Cross, the biggie that they got was about establishing that Whitney was friends with Jennifer Howell.
I have it right here, yes.
You know who Jennifer Howell is, right, Ms. Henriquez?
I do.
She's the founder of the Art of Elysium nonprofit.
She is.
And you worked there for a time, didn't you?
I did.
Around May 2015, you actually moved in with Ms. Howell, right?
May 2015.
15?
Yes.
And you moved out of the penthouses because at that point you and your sister were fighting, right?
It was around the time that, he had accused me of leaking stories, and that was the impetus of me leaving.
And you testified earlier, I think, that he had asked you to sign an NDA, right?
At some point.
And that was around the same time that he was concerned you were leaking stories about their wedding to the media?
I believe so.
You and Ms. Howell were close?
We were.
Close enough that you lived with her for around a year?
I don't recall if it was that long.
And you confided in Ms. Howell, right?
About some things, yes. She was my friend.
You called her your chosen sister? Ms. Henriquez, you claim to have seen signs of injuries on your sister.
No, I was waiting for that to continue, and then it stopped because those in the know, right? We know, and Christopher, we're going to get there. There is a declaration of Jennifer Howell that is damning, like really, really, really damning, and they didn't bring it up yet. And so what was your thought, Ann, to get your thoughts before we have to
my
go?
thought is that it wasn't timely to bring it up now. It's just they had to establish the connection so that when they're presenting the rebuttal case, they can bring in Jennifer's deposition, unless she's going to come in person. But they can use her to just undermine the entirety of Whitney's testimony. Because Jennifer is going to testify that Whitney told her that it was Amber who was going to throw Whitney down the stairs, and that Whitney told her that it was Amber who cut off. If I'm remembering it all correctly, that it was Amber that cut off Johnny's finger in Australia. I mean, she's just loaded with Whitney having told her everything.
Whitney's told her a lot. Before you go, there's one other thing you pointed out to us, which I wanted to give you credit for, because while on the stand, Whitney said this.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sorry, wait. We're getting to it.
Overcome everything that she went through in the duration of their relationship. She is
talking about her sister.
Really, really tried her best to move past it. And anybody that knows Amber at all knows that some of the most important things to her are honesty, integrity. Her reputation is all she has. She doesn't have piles of money and private islands or...
Objection, Your Honor. It's non-responsive.
My God, Ann, I don't know how I missed it, but pointing out the irony in there, bravo, because go ahead. What is your response hearing?
Well, I just can't imagine that the jury would hear that today and not just ignore everything else she said, because they've just been through the whole Amber show. I can't imagine that a lot of them believed Amber. We don't know until we know. But we are hearing some things about people in the courtroom reporting on how the jury members are responded to Amber. And so for them to hear Whitney say, she's so honest, it's got to undermine. It would for me if I were the jury.
Well, I appreciate you here. We got more to talk about. I want to thank Ann for being here and make sure I plug one more time. It's Ann Silvers, silvers.com. Did I have it? There it is. Anything you want to plug or mention before you go?
No, my book about abuse of men by women. It's available on my store and also with a new cover, a little bit better looking cover than that on Amazon.
Awesome. So you can look up Ann Silvers on Amazon. I'm putting the link in the comment. I'll put in the description as well. Go support her. Always a pleasure to have you here. And thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
Enjoy
Thanks
your
for
day.
having
We'll
me.
see you soon. There it is. Ann Silvers. And she's done some fantastic essays breaking down some of the other stuff in the case. So go follow her and show her some love. Thank you
Go
again.
to my
Ann.
blog.
The blog. It's on there, right? Click on there.
Put Depp in the search. Yeah, there it is.
Boom. A lot of breaking down the Hughes testimony, Dr. Curry, for fantastic analysis. So thanks again for your work. I'll put that link in the comments now as well. Enjoy your evening, Ann. Thanks again.
Okay. So you click me off, okay?
Yeah, she's like, how do I do this? I got it. There it is. You are out. Appreciate you. Thank you again. All right. So, Christopher, I want to go back to you on this topic that Ann so smartly brought up, and we got a lot more to go through, guys. So stay tuned. But this Jennifer Howell thing, you helped me find this declaration. I'd seen it, but here it is. I mean, this declaration is pretty damning because she goes in there and admits a lot about how aggressive Amber is, how she does it to Johnny, herself, the Elon embryos and things came out. That's who that Elon was bugging her car. A lot of stuff came in, and this person doesn't seem like some whack job who's just doing it for attention. This is someone who knew her well, who was sort of really struggling with the fact that she was told all this stuff by the sister, and then seeing the sister change the story in real life and wanted to come forward with this declaration. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think we're going to see moving forward on not bringing it up now?
Yeah, so Howell employed Whitney for about a year as some kind of nonprofit or something company that Jennifer had founded. So Jennifer had a conversation, according to Jennifer, with Whitney about this stair incident. This is the incident where Amber says that Whitney placed herself in the line of fire between Amber and Johnny during an argument. Johnny's at the top of the stairs. Amber's on the stairs, and here comes Whitney to get in, run interference in between, and that Amber believed that Johnny was going to push Whitney down the stairs, and then Amber punches Johnny to save Whitney's from being thrown down the stairs. Like, I don't know how all that fits, but that's what she's saying. Now, Whitney now testifies today in court. Yes, that happened. Now, there's somebody on Twitter, and there was a great catch in the testimony. Just picked something up, so I want to give a shout out for that. But Whitney basically says, yeah, Johnny was the aggressor. I thought I was going to get pushed down the stairs. That's why Amber came to my assistance. Well, here's this declaration from Jennifer Howell, and she says, look, I had a conversation with Whitney back then, and Whitney told me that she did try to intervene.
She tried to stop her sister Amber from hitting and attacking Johnny on the stairs. Correct.
So it was to stop Amber, and that Whitney allegedly told Jennifer that Whitney was worried that Amber was going to kill Johnny. So a 180, completely different story. So now that, and this statement here is hearsay, it'll never see the light of day, but the witness in person or through a videotape depo can be brought in on Johnny's rebuttal case when he gets his final shot here to do that. And it's super important because, again, the jury only needs one witness to rely on for their verdict. Right. And here we have now Amber saying the stair incident happened a particular way, and Whitney saying it happened a particular way. So again, there's an inconsistency that we can go over that this Twitter user identified, but it's vital that they get Howell in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really Whitney said she tried to intervene to stop Amber from going after Johnny. Amber nearly pushed Whitney down the stairs. She told me she was worried if Amber was going to kill Johnny. And she told me that she had to endure that kind of abuse her entire life, first from her father and then from Amber, who she said was extremely violent. Look, this needs to get to the jury, and I hope it does, and I hope they don't try to, I don't know, but hearsay, I don't know whatever excuse you're saying, but this should get there. It's so frustrating that some things like this don't get there because it's very telling. Who is this person? Are they credible? Whitney told her, so let's hear from this person so we can make that call for ourselves, because what's being said here is damning, right? Because it reveals the true, intent from Whitney, who would know about Amber and then puts her whole credibility and truth on question. So I hope we get to see this, and it's important you guys know this exists. And again, there's a lot more in here that this goes down. And while Whitney was in the office sitting in black and white chairs near the kitchen and loudly proclaimed, "Oh my God, she's done it now. She cut off his effing finger," talking about her sister cutting off Johnny's finger. Like, this witness and the testimony that came in is crucial. Also knew his mother, and the mother put out this whole frozen embryo battle, and Elon Musk was bugging the Tesla and more. All this came from this witness who, again, from the smuggling of the dogs, this was all stuff that Whitney sort of volunteered while working there. And it's important also to say that this witness says multiple people heard her. It wasn't even just like this one person's coming forward to be hey, I'm going to be my 5 minutes of fame. We all worked there, and I've talked to them, and we've all agreed that's not what we heard, which to me you'd think would be the most important piece of this whole case. No, Christopher?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that Johnny's team's gotta contradict this because again, we're seeing this, but we're not on the jury. The jury doesn't see this unless the judge allows it. So we have an issue there. But I do want to give a shout out to this Twitter user, Louisiana80, who tweeted out
if you message
inconsistency.
me, I can share it. Where do I find it?
Yeah, I will. Let me just go ahead and.
If you DM to me, I'll have it there.
Yeah. So Louisiana 80, and I just texted it to you, the link to it. It's a great catch because even if we don't get to hear from Howell, we did hear from Whitney, and Whitney said that Johnny comes running up the stairs and hits Whitney's back. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but now that Lou's pointing this out, that doesn't make any sense because the whole story per Amber and Whitney is that Johnny's at the top of the stairs. He has to be at the top of the stairs because he's going to push down Whitney to her death is what the allegation is. Well, how does he at the top of the stairs if he's running behind Whitney? And why is Whitney and Amber up there? What are they must be arguing. So I mean, it makes no sense in the fight that we're being told was happening between Amber and Johnny at the top of the stairs. If that was already happening, why is the story? Again, I'm sorry I'm being so long with this, but the story that we were told is that Amber and Johnny were fighting at the top of the stairs and that it was Whitney who came running up to get into the so-called line of fire.
Right.
Well, Whitney has testified that Johnny came running from behind. So great catch, Lou. I mean, it's so it's just completely inconsistent.
That's been everything here. So that's really well done. And in fact, I'm going to try and pull this. Thank you, Lou. I might even clip this for tomorrow's show because, yeah, you're right. Comparing those two stories is pretty crucial. So well caught. And this is when Twitter is the best, when we have all our people actually sharing good intel to really give us the facts. So good on you, Lou. See, live on the show, 64,000 people. Go give Lou a like for that amazing work. Look, this testimony is crucial as all this is in there. We're gonna compare those things, and I feel like Whitney really was there. Now, this is another thing. There was all this talk of apparently, Christopher, your thoughts on this, because objection, Ms. Hernandez represents action when she was deposed in this court. The counsel cut short her deposition after a mere 3.5 hours and then represented to counsel for Mr. Depp that she was unable to resume the deposition for an extended period of time for medical reasons, while also asserting that Ms. Heard's counsel intended to consume any remaining time at the deposition by posing questions to their own client. The Monday after Friday March discovery cutoff, Ms. Heard's counsel subsequently offered Ms. Hernandez for deposition, but continued to insist that her counsel would consume the questioning time. Ms. Hernandez should be excluded entirely due to Ms. Heard's counsel deliberate and blatant efforts to obstruct her deposition. And the alternative, she should be required to sit for a further 3.5 hours of deposition by Mr. Depp's counsel before being allowed to testify. That's a fair concern. Am I left to assume this got fixed because she was up there, or what are your legal thoughts on this?
Yeah, it must have been. I mean, if there's a failure of discovery, a failure to provide discovery, then the court would exclude the witness or to make the witness available for discovery some other point in time. So there's no way Johnny's team would have not raised that and let that go.
All right, we have a lot more to go through. Amy, do you know who this person is? Did you ever see this person at the building? But first, also, Kristen. My goodness.
No.
Whoops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I was just going to say, well, I keep hitting. Kristen Grove just dropped $200. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Kristen, for your support. There's so many of you guys supporting, and I wish I could tell you all, but I know you guys want to see the show. I promise I'll get to all your support in a minute. But Kristen Grove, oh my goodness, I just saw that. Thank you. I appreciate all that you lovely people do. This is a donation, not a pledge. Thank you so much. No pledges here. Oh my God, what a woman. Oh, it's a pledge. They're the same to me. They're not the same. But my goodness, thank you so much, Kristen, for supporting what we do. It's been a lot of work, and so grateful to everybody here and all you guys watching. Thank you for the support. All right, but Amy, sorry, I'm going to let you have a moment. Do you know we have Drew. Do you want me to talk to her about her or Drew? What would you rather hear next, Amy?
I'm actually, I don't know her. Like, she has that California kind of, Kardashian-ish accent. It was hard for me to watch her today. But I want to talk about the Drew thing. So, like, watching all of the old depositions that are years and years old, it's interesting because his deposition that we watched was from 2019, right?
Yep.
And so we've now all seen all the people that lived in the penthouses. I love how everyone just keeps saying, well, like, by invitation, like, I was asked to live there and I didn't pay rent, but that wasn't my idea. It's like, you are grown, you have a job.
Yep.
Pay your goddamn rent. Like, come on. Like, I have to work my butt off and I pay my rent. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, the live in. So everyone's just always so like, oh yes, by invitation I live there. But we saw all of the body cam footage from the cops, both sets of cops' visits, so many times. And we heard their depositions. And then so today when I was watching him, I was just like really kind of cringing because he kept saying, I took them in and I gave them a tour and I showed them this dent and I showed them this thing on the wall and I showed them this and that. We didn't see on any body cam footage like the Josh Drew tour guide show. Like, I didn't see any of that.
Nope. No, I saw the body cam footage. It didn't show any of the things, right? And he's telling us something else, but we have video.
No,
it says otherwise.
And the other thing I want to say that annoyed me with watching him, not just because, like, I feel like Zach Galifianakis will play him in the movie, but no, what annoyed me about I guess the lawyer had asked, like, oh, and what about, somebody else in the staff, Trinity Esperanza? And he's like, she wasn't pleasant. She wasn't nice to me or Amber or Rocky, or it wasn't nice to any of us. She was unpleasant. And I was like, I'm going to call bullshit on that. I texted Trinity today. Trinity, if you're watching, I love you so much. Everyone that works here is so nice. And it's why we work. It's why we live here. It's very secure. Everyone has each other's back. And I just don't like when people say mean things about my friends and my people. So, but
yeah, thank you for saying that, because I want to make sure we don't do that. I mean, look, this guy. Did we believe this guy? I don't know his intentions. He's Rocky's ex-husband. We did a whole video based on the fact that they totally edited out the Elon Musk affair, which I found very strange. But I guess it's hearsay. But everybody's been doing hearsay in those video depositions, so it was a weird thing that they trimmed out, and I don't know why. Because if we're gonna believe him, right? If the defense is gonna tell us that he's telling the truth, well, then he admitted that yes, Amber was having affairs on Johnny with Elon and Cara Delevingne. So it feels like, all right, if we're gonna hear this guy, let's hear it all, right?
I'm so glad you posted that. Yeah. I watched the video right before I hopped on with you. No, I'm so glad you posted like the unedited, video, because like we all want to hear this. Come on, I want to be a fly on the wall when that party happened. Like, what the hell? It's like we all want to hear the unedited story.
I always wondered how Cara Delevingne became so popular. I guess, I don't know. She's an Amber Heard, allegedly. Speculation. Don't sue me. It's not a fan of her. She's as good as an actress as Amber is. But pretty, I guess, right? That's what it takes these days, Amy. But yeah, it was very strange. He was very like just fast and just he looked very angry. Those permanent angry eyebrows were the only thing I couldn't get away. It was like those kids' books. But I don't know. Christopher, did you buy it? Did you think he was offering anything of value? Did you see him?
Yeah, I mean, he was, at the beginning, I thought, he was very factual and just, matter of fact and wasn't adding any, sauce to it. Then we kind of heard later on where he was saying, I kind of saw some scary stuff. He was asked, though, at some point saying like, hey, do you think Amber was faking this? And he said, this would be a different shoot, I think he called it, if I had. So, again, it's hard. I mean, this is Amber's case. This is her chance. She gets to put in all these witnesses. And again, we don't know when the jury's there, and we can't can't tell anything by looking at them, like whether they're believing any of this stuff.
Before I did, there's a lot of text. I want to make sure I forgot to bring this up. Sorry, I have a lot of things on here, but there are text messages from Amber's sister, Whitney, that really, again, just don't paint her in a very good light. And it's like another example of like, why didn't they read these texts in front of her? I guess maybe they weren't allowed to get the Whitney texts in, but they exist. But, you know, they alluded to it in the cross, but I feel I had a cross clip, but it's hard. The cross was very underwhelming. I felt like they buttered her up and then never really sliced her neck. And they mentioned a couple things of like the fact that she, you know, did say some mean things about her sister and, you know, that she did run away from her sister and would say, but I really thought they could have brought in better evidence to really hit it home to try to put Whitney into a corner who's, I feel like would have been a lot easier to catch off guard to really acknowledge the abuse that she's faced by her sister. Because, you know, there was just a lot of stuff as he's, Brian's been sharing some more out there. I had another one. But yeah, it was just very frustrating to me. I was really hoping for that, and here it was. This is Johnny texting her, which they alluded to. Thanks, doll. Nothing yet. Trying to call her, says Whitney. Johnny, she just hit me, so she's all right. Like physically? That doesn't surprise me at all. No, F-head, as in contacted. You funny. I'm a riot. Glad she's okay, though. Now she's ignoring me. Just weird context of things that I feel like they really could have brought this together. Also, with the imagine all the cocaine she's clearly taken, I don't understand how Whitney is relevant at all. Speaking of drugs or something, I don't know what this woman was on, but here was the other one. This is Elizabeth Mars.
Like I was scared of him. So that's all I can say from the moment that the one interaction I had with him that night, it was frightening to me. His behavior was frightening to me.
We're going to come back to that.
Wear makeup? I mean, I don't think of her as someone who wears a lot of makeup. No.
Yeah, you
Hold on, wait, it comes back. I don't know why.
understand that that penthouse was owned by Mr. Depp
did I pull the wrong clip?
at the time?
I sadly got the wrong clip there. But what's amazing about this makeup clip is that she basically admits and gets like they palled around and Camille gets her to be like, yeah, so she doesn't wear much makeup, right? She's like, no, she's a natural, right? Yeah, she doesn't need any makeup. So she didn't wear any makeup, you know? Yeah, totally. And she's basically got her to acknowledge this close friend Amber's that no, she never wears makeup. That was to me the bigger thing. But here was sort of a summary of Elizabeth.
That whole, his way to assist Raquel in getting ready for a bead show that she was going to be doing the following day. Like I was scared of him. I don't think of her as someone who wears a lot of makeup. No. That whole, his whole being really frightened me.
I was so scared,
seemed to be
guys.
intoxicated.
Okay. Is that different than drunk?
No, I mean, yeah.
Terrifying.
It wasn't an invite. It was very
terrifying.
Yeah, it was intense.
It's so intense.
To Penthouse 5, and you hear him say something to the effect of, "Get your bitch out of here." Correct?
Mm-hmm. Disheveled, and her hair was a mess, and she had a swollen face. That's why I ran out. If there's a grown-ass man coming at you and saying, "Get your bitch out of here," and swaying a Magnum-sized bottle of wine, I'm sure.
Caught!
I don't know what anyone do. I can't say what anyone do, but I ran out.
And will you just remind us what side of Miss
She couldn't not laugh. Even Amber's
If there's a
laughing at
grown-ass
this
man
nonsense.
coming at you and saying, "Get your bitch out of here," and swaying a Magnum-sized bottle of wine, I'm sure.
So funny that
I don't know
Johnny's
what anyone do.
screaming at a
I can't say what
bottle of
anyone
wine.
do,
She
but
can't-
I
This
ran
is the
out.
look at we caught the monster. And, that sounds really funny. Johnny coming at you screaming with a bottle of wine. That is really silly. Even Amber, Kim, did you see that clip? Even Amber is caught not falling for her own fucking shit. It's crazy.
It's so funny to me. See, she was actually the one I missed today. She was the only one I missed today. I had to pop out.
Magnum-sized
And it
bottle
truly
of-
is. It's like that, like Amy said, it's that Kardashian type accent that every statement ends with a question, even if it's not a question.
Yeah, but I
It's
mean,
so weird.
her laughter's crazy. But can you believe Amber's laughing at it now too? Look at this.
It's great. It's great. It's. But the whole thing is laughable, though. The whole thing, it's just ridiculous. She's too happy talking about this. It's hilarious.
Amy, you've had the pleasure of meeting Miss Amber Turd. Like, as the woman who's now on the stand, right, to like for victims and all the serious stuff that she's doing. Is this a good look to be giggling at the thought of the monster chasing her friend here with a bottle?
The most I've ever seen her smile ever was in this trial. Like, anytime I've interacted, no, I'm 100%. I know people are going to say I'm a bitch for saying this, whatever, but I told you that, you know, we talked like a couple times I would see her in the building or upstairs, or I was in Hollywood once and I ran into her. She was just so like, don't look at me, I'm so beautiful. And, you know, so like snobbish and everything. Now I'm finally seeing her laugh for the first time, and it's in this trial, which is really sick.
And laughing at the example of her husband causing this woman so much frightening. Look at it, so terrible. I'm so scared. I'm so scared, guys. Help me! Oh my God, these women are nuts. I'm sorry, just these women. I didn't mean all women.
No. I feel you though.
You're like, I get it. So yeah, look, Elizabeth Mars didn't really offer much except for that, which was, and I didn't edit that, guys. You can go watch it on long.
Some things that were broken, but I don't.
We just made it long, but yeah, this was that moment she's laughing to, where she caught herself and couldn't even stop laughing. I couldn't believe that one. So there we go. I don't know what she was there just to say that Johnny was really scary, guys, but again, another witness who saw nothing. He walked out and screamed with a bottle at one point. I want to go to the makeup artist because that was probably, and I don't want to gloss over it. And in fact, Paige is here as well to help come in. So Melanie is the makeup artist. She's a real serious makeup artist. Clearly does makeup to all the stars. And I don't know the relationship to her, but I do know that there are photos. I just saw it. Hold on. Where was it? Sometimes people do too many tweets. I can't find it as quick. They were close friends. This wasn't just like a makeup artist. Here she is. I think that's her. Close friends for a while. So just to have that backstory, because it seems like anybody who gets close to Amber becomes part of the cult of Amber and defends them. However, even this makeup artist revealed, we're no longer friends. I cut her out of my life and didn't want her in my life. Funny, Amy, how that works, right?
It's weird. Like, every single person, you think like at the toughest time in someone's life, your friends are there for you. Like, she's going through this huge, openly public, lawsuit case, but nobody's there to support her, except for Whitney at this point and Dr. Huge Lies. But besides that, like, everyone's like, oh, I'm not friends with her anymore. What's up with that? That's so confusing. And this makeup artist, by the way, her work is incredible. Just saying, like, she's so talented, and
she's legit.
I feel bad that she got wrapped into this, but she's really an amazing makeup artist. Just saying.
No disrespect to our makeup expert. There you are, Paige. You're now on the show. Sorry, hello, I didn't warn you, but hi.
Hi, Paige.
But Paige has been our makeup expert as she's been called in. And Paige, I wanted you to be here. Thank you for jumping in last minute notice. But here we had this makeup artist come on to basically say, yeah, she had the bruises, and yeah, I covered them up.
It was the James Corden show. She had an appearance, so I came back to work.
And when you arrived at the penthouse on December 16, please describe for me what you observed about Amber Heard's face and any injuries.
When I came to the penthouse on December 16 to do Amber's makeup, she had injuries. She had too light, like, I don't know how, I don't know, I mean, I'm not a medical expert, I don't know how I would describe them, but it could have looked like somebody had headbutted her lightly, so she had a discoloration here, under both eyes, and on the bridge of the nose. And she had what I would call a split lip, or something on the lip, like a gash or a split lip.
Ms. Iglesias, I'm going to ask you to look at what has been marked as exhibit number 11. Do you recognize this photo as being Amber Heard's head?
Yes.
Okay. And could you please describe for me what this photo is showing?
It's showing a chunk of missing hair.
And what, if anything, did you observe on December 16 about Amber Heard missing a chunk of hair?
I remember this because she showed it to us, and I looked at it.
Okay. And can you describe
This is the hair.
What is depicted right along her scalp there?
I don't know.
Do you recall that there was some bruising along the scalp and some pus, for lack of a better word?
I don't recall.
Ms. Iglesias, I'm going to ask you to take a look at what has been marked as exhibit number 14. Do you recognize the person in this photo?
Yes.
And who is that?
This is Amber Heard.
Okay. And
So she recognizes a lot of photos here. She does acknowledge that
Yes.
the photos are.
December
She's like, well, a lot of these photos are
16,
badly lit.
16, 2000.
But yes.
Now,
With very different light.
December 16, 2015.
I mean, that's three pictures with very different light, but yes.
Yes,
Now,
good,
do you
good
also
catch.
recall there being
Good
an
catch.
injury
Very odd
to
how
Amber,
much different the photos all
Amber
are.
Heard's lip?
Correct.
And Ms. Iglesias, I'm going to ask you to take a look at.
Wait, I want to get to how she
no
covered
other
it.
option that night, but then to use a red blood like I pencil blue.
All right, so here,
which
Paige.
I would normally
I
concealer,
assume that she's an expert, but
coloration, or the,
here's how she covered it.
you know, I just did makeup, but just a little heavier way it knitted. So we covered, you know, the discoloration or the bruises with a little slightly heavier concealer, one that has a little more of a peach undertone, which I would normally don't use on Amber, but peach do cancel blue. So I did that under the eyes, and although Amber always, you know, has a red lip, is one of her signature look, I remember clearly talking that we had no other option that night, but then to use a red blood, like a really red lipstick to, you know, make sure we could cover up the injuries on the lip.
And were you able to cover all of the injuries with the makeup that you applied and as you just described?
Yes.
Ms. Iglesias, if you could look at what has been marked as exhibit number 22, do you recognize Amber Heard in that picture?
Yes.
Okay. And is this the picture of her? Is this a picture of her that evening, December 16, 2000? If anything, did you
Yes.
on the show?
That she had the ability to, you know, turn it on, that she, you know, the ability to do her job and perform how she was supposed to perform on the show.
Now she goes and says it again. We have another clip where she basically explains it
based on
again
your
to
best
Camille.
Swollen, but
I just want to play one more time. She gets more
And
specific
I
here.
do believe the right eye had a little more of a gash right there. It wasn't that strong. It wasn't that swollen, but it was definitely some blue and yellow discoloration there, mainly on the inner corner and a little more here. And then she had on the right lip, as I said earlier, I'm not sure the exact medical term, but it looked like a split lip or like a gash here.
Did you ever see Miss Heard's lip bleed on December 15th or December 16th?
I don't recall.
But you remember that it was not bleeding on December 16th when you were applying the makeup, correct?
When I was applying the makeup, correct.
How about before you were applying the makeup? Do you recall it bleeding?
I don't recall.
And I think you just described it as either a gash or a split lip.
I don't know what would be the medical term for it. I don't know what kind of injury would have caused this. I'm not a medical expert. No,
She's not a medical expert.
It was slightly swollen, and by the way, you can see it in that video. So it's crazy to me, but it was slightly swollen, and there was either a gash or a scab. No, not a scab, but it was swollen with some kind of cut.
Now, that's the takeaway we got. She also made it clear she never saw Johnny do it or never saw Johnny be violent. Johnny was very nice, but she did acknowledge near the end that they fought a lot, that was sort of part of the reason. And it was. I'm going to try and find that clip near the end because she's seemingly talking about the relationship of Johnny and Amber, but the way I was listening, I don't know about you audience that watched, kind of sounded like her own relationship with Amber as well, of how it just became very toxic and she just didn't really want that person in her life anymore. As she sort of was trying to talk about it. But Paige, all right, so there it is. What are your take? So it sounds like she's legit. Yes. Anything you want to offer there as our Popcorn Planet makeup expert? What did you think when you heard this section? You're muted. You are muted. I don't know why. There you go.
Got it. So she is 100% legit. I mean, her work is beautiful. She's very talented. However, that everything that she said is completely correct. You would cover up some blues and purples depending on the client's skin tone with something peach, especially with the under eye area. Now we have a vein that runs from around our nose down underneath our eyes on our orbital bone. So that's why a lot of people have dark circles. That's why it can be genetic. So we're trained to do that. Everything she said was accurate. I know that a lot of people are probably hoping I'm going to come on here and be like, she's trash, everything's trash. But like, I'm just going to remain honest. Like as a makeup artist, everything she was saying was legit. I know that doesn't help Johnny's case, but she also didn't really know firsthand that the bruises came from Johnny. A lot of those bruises do look consistent with Botox bruising, just from the way that they are placed under the eye. I don't see any sort of bruising or swelling on her face whatsoever. And when somebody gets a broken nose, not only does the nose swell, and yes, arnica gel and ice can help to reduce the swelling, but makeup can't, and even contouring can't to the extent that her face looks in this video. Her face looks, dare I say, like perfect. Like her nose doesn't look like it's at all altered. Some slight contouring just to probably help balance out the heavier foundation. I did find it interesting that she said that she had to use a heavier concealer than she normally has to use on Amber. So I'm wondering why she had to use something heavier and Amber didn't have that product. Because she apparently Amber was so pro at covering all of her bruises all this time, but the makeup artist herself had to use something thicker and heavier than usual. Her face looks flawless. The makeup artist did an amazing job. Absolute props to the makeup artist. I have seen some people in the chat here and on Hugging the Cactus that were like, this makeup artist is trash. She's not. She's very talented. And not only that, I mean, her work speaks for itself, and everything that she was saying was exactly what you would do to cover up those bruises or any sort of discoloration.
Oh, thank you for all that, because that's fantastic feedback. But the one thing, and I think you said this as we were talking before you came on, you don't see the work. She said, oh, it's easy for me to see. Melanie said it because she's like, I did it. But you were saying as well, like, no, you don't see that, right? I see the chat saying it right now. That split lip, really? Is that in there? That seems like that'd be a lot harder to cover up. But what do you, because you said that too before we even heard from the makeup artist. Do you agree with that? Do you think you see it there? Is that something we just missed?
I personally don't see it. And when somebody has even very dry lips, including dry and cracked lips, it's very painful and very noticeable to wear a thick layer of a matte lipstick like she's wearing. So sure, the blood red could cover up that any redness on her lip, but her lips don't look dry. They don't look damaged. Obviously, I'm not as close to her in person, so I can't really tell for certain, but I don't see any sort of cracked lip. Also, she has been known to pick at her lips. So,
yes. Well, I was going to go there next.
A question for Paige. Can I ask Paige a question?
Of course, go for it.
Yes.
Hey, Paige.
Hi.
as a costume designer, I work with makeup artists, every day, and we sometimes share rooms and whatnot. And I'm always really curious, like with the makeup artist of Amber Heard, I know English isn't her first language, so she was describing like a split lip or a gash or something like that. But is it possible? I mean, I know I sound like a most horrible person, but asking you as a makeup artist, if there was like a cold sore, like a herpes sore, whatever you call it, like a cold sore or something, could that be something like that? Or how do you handle that if you have an actor in your chair that has like a big herpes lip?
That's a great question. So that is actually a contraindication, which means that we should not be applying product to that area. However, sometimes with actors, actresses, anybody who is doing any sort of runway, sometimes those things come up and we have to kind of push through and still do it, even though it's going to potentially cause an infection. We have to use disposable items. We can't apply the product directly to the lip, even if it's that person's own product itself, just to avoid any sort of cross-contamination. But it will make that area more aggravated. So at all costs, we try to avoid that. We try to like reschedule if it's like a photo shoot or something along those lines, but working with people.
So it could be a cold, because I picked the lip, cold sore. Are there other, anybody else have an idea, but are there other reasons that could have been self-inflicted?
I wonder if it has to do with her Accutane, because Accutane really does dry out your lips. So it makes it more likely for them to crack and to have other issues.
Yeah, great point. Accutane is definitely something that dries your skin out. It's going to dry the skin out completely. I remember my cousin started using Accutane. He lives in Toronto, and it was the winter of Toronto. And so he was like, what am I supposed to do? Yes. And I was like, you need to moisturize the hell out of your body and your lips especially. So that is possible. But I also just don't think that she was following the rules of Accutane, considering she was a heavy drinker, and you're not supposed to drink on Accutane.
I would agree with that as well.
Interesting. And plus, just one more thing, I have it up there, and I'll get our thoughts. But we again, don't forget all the glass scars, right? All the glass scars that aren't there, which the makeup person didn't see. Which Amber then later said, "Oh yeah, that was months later." Said, "Oh yeah, I had all these things. Where are they?" So again, now I open up the whole panel page, everybody. But to me, there's that sort of wraps up where we're going to go as we wrap up sort of today's testimonies. Look, we're at a place now where someone's lying. Clearly, people are lying. We have to decide who's lying. I feel like we've caught Amber already in multiple lies, so it's like I don't believe her based on all the stuff we've heard. I think she's spinning everything. They're trying to hide things from the jury to not see, like that Jennifer Howell thing and more. Are the friends lying too? Is a fair question I think we need to ask. Are they all defending her and part of this cult mentality that I'm going to perjure and do it? I think Whitney is. I do think Whitney is. I think she's just doing whatever her sisters tell her to do. But do we think this makeup artist and everybody, I know a lot of you guys want to just go there and say trash, but there's a part of me that thinks, I don't think this makeup artist is lying. So it does answer more, but could Amber have just done it to herself, or Amber done something else to try to make these there so that way she has more witnesses to attest? Because the makeup artist didn't confirm the whole story. You got to remember that while they're out there saying all this stuff, it was weird Camille didn't ask, like, well, did you see scratches on her arms? Did you see her arms there? Like, there's a lot more that I think we could have hit harder to really add some credibility issues here. But I hope Johnny's team is able to really offer that of like, well, if they're actually there, then how'd they get there? And my guess is self-inflicted. Christopher, you said I heard you. And I want to make sure I let you have a chance to go. But what do you think of this problem when you have witnesses who may be telling the truth?
Well, that's it. I mean, yes, you can say everybody's a liar, but that's a very hard thing to.
Well, I mean, Amber's saying
the
that,
jury to
right?
believe.
Amber's saying it.
But well, that's both sides, but it's too simplistic. Okay, so in closing argument, the job of the lawyer is to come up with some unifying theory, some argument that explains all the evidence that they heard. Now, sure, you could say everyone that testified on Amber's side is a liar. Okay, but that's not going to work. So that what I think where it comes down to is that everyone that's testified, from Dr. Hughes, the makeup artists, these folks that were living there at the building, were all relying on the truthfulness of what Amber had said. And they felt guilty. They felt horrible for her, what was going on, all according to her, outside of their presence. And that's why they came in with some level of conviction saying, hey, I think this happened, or this is what I saw. But it all sources back to Amber. And if you don't believe Amber, then all that you've now taken the legs out from all of the testimony of these other witnesses. And then, so now you establish that. Now you've just neutralized all those witnesses. And now you attack Amber's credibility and the inconsistencies there. That's the better approach.
What do you think, Kim? Can we believe some of these people?
I think it's very interesting that we had a group here of people that were very close. They all essentially lived together in the different penthouses. They all saw each other every day. They all hung out every day. And now none of them talk. They've all fallen apart. And I mean, people come in and out of your life. That's normal. You're not going to be friends with everybody for your entire lifetime. But just understanding that all of these people that have been involved in this are no longer talking. There is more here. There is more in the relationship dynamic of what's gone on here. I truly believe that they're sticking with what they think happened, and that information maybe came from an unreliable source. I don't know. That's my opinion. But it all just it doesn't smell right. You know, they're either annoyed that they have to do this. It's like Alex being like, everybody's got problems. I just want to move on with my life.
Right.
Or it's, you know, just this sadness and this anger and frustration. There's so much negativity with each of them talking. And that was something I didn't feel with the character witnesses that we got from Johnny. There was concern.
Yeah.
You know, but not the other emotions that we were seeing from everybody else.
Linda, do you agree?
Yeah, and it was just like with the makeup artist, I hate to go into any details or anything, but there is a thing called impulse self-harm. And I've seen it working with behavioral clients and people and such. It's just, there's some people out there that when they're enraged or they're in a manic state, they do panic, like have a panic attack. They might pull at their hair, even might rip it. They might even self-hit themselves. I mean, some people might be hearing this and thinking it's far-fetched, but we don't know Amber. And from the stuff that we've heard so far, you know, it's aggressive, very aggressive. So anything's possible. So with the makeup artist, what she's saying, she did seem kind of credible, believable. And it seemed like she was being honest. And Josh Drew was kind of the same. I feel like he was kind of very confident in his words. So he comes off pretty believable. I think a lot of these people were very careful tiptoeing around certain things because I don't think they really want to hurt Johnny as much as clearly Amber does. But at the same time, they have a little bit of a loyalty still to Amber, even though they all have their friendships falling apart. But there is something there. So I totally agree with Kim that there is a lot more to the story. There could be a huge, I hate to use the word, but conspiracy that we don't know, that we might not ever know. So it's really hard to figure out and pinpoint certain things with these people and their stories.
Yeah, well said. Amy, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think with like especially yesterday and today, and I watched all of today, I think my frustration really is in just getting like super close into looking at all of the photos proof that it's like, did Amber or Rocky take this? Did Rocky or Drew take this? Did you take this photo of yourself? There's all these photos, but people are all interpreting them different. When Raquel was asked, you know, was her head dripping blood or was there red blood or something like that where her hair was ripped out? And she said yes, but then the photo we've been looking at over and over can look like, I'm just saying, it can look like somebody with thin, straight hair who has thinning hair. I didn't see any red or blood or anything. Didn't see any roots. You know, like that photo of the close-up of the scalp that people are going, ooh, there's hair ripped out. But then the hair on the rug is there from a day later, and it's kinky, and it's not straight hair, and it could be from a hairbrush. You know, it's I don't know. There's just so many things looking at all those photos. One of them, she was asked, I guess yesterday, if the photo was enhanced with saturation. Do you remember that?
Yes, I mean, a lot of her photos have been, yes.
Yeah, and then it was like, no, that's just different lighting, but it's the exact same photo. So if she was taking a photo of herself, she would have had to have like moved to turn the light on and take another photo. It's the exact same photo. If you line them up on top of each other. Which
yes, there are a lot of, Alicia, our editor, put it together. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll end it there, but I would say that my frustration from today is just another day of so many stories that are being told differently and, you know, inconsistent with truths. And, you know, we'll see. I mean, it's getting hairy.
Speaking of inconsistent truths, credit to Ann Silvers. Again, follow her over at Ann Silvers without any Ann Silvers on Twitter. She's telling Popcorn Planet sent you. But she noticed this at the end, and I think a lot of people missed this. Kim, thank you for pulling the code here. But
she didn't say that she didn't indicate that he cut off, like went purposely to cut it. What it seemed to me is that he had broken the bottle against something, and then he was doing things with the bottle, like shaking it around, and that he had cut himself from that. It didn't indicate that he had in any way purposely cut himself.
So again, the stories keep changing, and so repeated that several times throughout that she had broken the bottle. Remember, Amber didn't want to commit to sequences or saying things, but allegedly she told her acting coach that. And I feel like what a way to end this. I'm clipping. We're not done, but what a way to end the whole show today and the trial. I mean, the trial day with this amazing burn from her acting coach. Can you imagine showing up to the hottest show in town, Amy, like the biggest show on Netflix? And you're like, you have to show up as the Amber Heard's acting coach. And you're just like, oh my God.
When she goes, Amber
wait, don't tease it. I'm teasing it. Yeah, don't tease it. I'm going to play the clip, but I'm queuing it up, which is the fact that you come to the show that millions are watching. And you're like, oh, I'm going to be on the Johnny Depp trial. I'm so excited. What's your role? I'm Amber Heard's acting coach. And you're like, oh man, no, damn, that's what? But no, she ends up winning with this sick burn. I mean, I was laughing so hard.
We could actually get something accomplished because she was often very upset.
Did you have occasion to observe Ms. Heard crying naturally, not acting, when you had coaching sessions with her during the time that she was together romantically with Mr. Depp?
I would say the last year they were together, probably 80-90% of our sessions began with her crying. That would be increasing as it went on. Ironically, she has a little difficulty crying acting-wise, so which a lot of us do.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, we would have to work when we were doing it acting-wise, but it was a lot.
She had to work a lot on that crying. Well, you don't say, acting coach. You came in on the win there because we all saw that. Amber Heard cannot act crying, and that was probably the most honest thing we heard all day, if we're being honest. That was wild. Did anyone else catch that and laugh hilariously when you saw that?
Yes, I can't believe they kept it. I was screaming. I was like, what is happening?
She said Amber is not a method actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because method acting, you know, whatever. But
sorry,
yeah.
I interrupted you, but yeah, I was trying to tee up the joke. But yeah, Amy, go ahead. When you watched that part, did that just give you secret joy?
Oh yeah, I definitely. I mean, it was funny. To me, it was funny. Nothing about this case is funny, but the comments from some of the witnesses are so funny today. Just like the random zingers that you're like, wait, what? She just said that? She can't cry, you know. My favorite one of the day was, what was Whitney's quote? Favorite one of the day? You would rarely see me sober.
Yes.
Is that it?
Andy,
Yes.
we need a shirt that says that.
What is the line? You're all right. It's true. That's our new. It's our new our new shirt. I think you're right. Guys, we're going to have to make that shirt. In fact, I'm glad you got to plug that because here it is. What did she say?
So
rare
good.
Look how serious she is.
And talk to Johnny. So I leave PH4. I leave her in PH4.
And let me just stop. Are you sober, drunk? Have you been drinking?
Oh, rare occasions where I was sober.
The rare occasion I'm sober on the T-shirt. There it is.
Need it.
I'm putting that in. This is the rare. I'm texting Brian now. The rare occasion I'm sober. But I'm glad you said that because actually, before I clip this, that you guys need to see these. We got a lot of you watching, and guess what just came out on the store today?
New shirts.
Amazing shirts. Not a new shirt. Stickers.
Ooh,
You can get all your shirt designs. You can buy either. There's 1 sheet and 2 sheet, or you can get the combo pack. But yes, basically all the amazing designs that Brian did are now going to be an awesome, nice little stickers you can peel off and put anywhere. So if you couldn't afford the T-shirts, but you wanted to get something to support or throw it on your phone, your laptop, or whatever, you can now pick up
some stickers.
all the stickers.
I want to get some stickers and put them around downtown. You know, like all the cool graffiti, and then I'll take pictures of them.
Yes.
Like all the downtown LA land, you know, where all the graffiti is. I'll just start doing slap ups.
So
Slap 'em
go
up all
check
over and take
out.
photos.
You can go check out the stickers. Scroll down; they'll be there now. Now stickers are available. I've been pushing them for that one because I was like, I want a couple stickers. But nice to see. You can get either if you like 1 sheet or you want 1, you can, or you get the bundle for a little cheaper. But he just ordered them. He just got them in. I think they're coming in tomorrow. So. Yeah,
Nice.
let's buy them out. Let's sell them out, all the stickers. And again, proceeds of the Johnny Depp stuff. We're raising money also for the Tampa Bay Crisis Center, which is a good cause. So thanks, everybody, and get your shirts today. Amazing. Oh, my God, what a show. We hung out for 4 hours. I'm not kidding. It was insane. I went on a rant that you're not going to want to miss, guys. How intense was that rant about the person who thinks Johnny Depp is hurting? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I hope someone clipped it. That was insane. There's so much more you're not going to want to miss. How do you watch the full show if you missed it? If you already got this, you're like, wait, where's the rest? I'll tell you, I edit these shows to make them a little shorter. And if you want to watch the full streams, you got to become a member. Hit join, but just pick a level, and that way you get the perks. I always do it for free live, but if you miss the live, I try not to have 4-hour videos on the channel. They just don't get as far. And we got a lot of important replays to get out there. So that's why we do it. Apologies. But hey, support the channel. Join today. And if you can't join, at least hit that subscribe. Hit the bell. Thanks to all my guests. We had so many tonight. Christopher Melcher, Ann Silvers, It's Kim, Steph the Alternerd, Amy Goodhart, Linda, and Paige, our makeup expert Paige. Thank you guys all for being here, watching live and with us. We'll be back tomorrow for the coverage. Lots more videos coming. Steph's taking over Friday, so don't miss your Popcorn Planet. Adios, everybody. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
My dog stepped on a bee.
It's convenient.